Elmendorf was a small rural community in Texas in the 1930s with a population of around 500 people. The town was located about 20 miles southeast of San Antonio and was primarily an agricultural area, with farming and ranching being the main source of income for its residents. At the time, Elmendorf had a few small businesses, including gas stations, a grocery store, and a post office. It was also home to several bars, one of which was owned by Joe Ball. Life in Elmendorf was simple and rural, with most people working long hours on their farms or ranches. There were few amenities, and entertainment was often limited to local events like churches, picnics, dances, and rodeos. Despite its small size, Elmendorf was not immune to crime. Bootlegging and gambling were common, and the area had a reputation for being a haven for outlaws and fugitives. In fact, the infamous outlaw John Wesley Hardin was reportedly killed in Elmendorf in 1895, just a few decades before Joe Ball's reign of terror began. Overall, Elmendorf was a typical small town in rural Texas in the 1930s, with a tight-knit community and a slower pace of life than the nearby city of San Antonio. Joe Ball, also known as the Alligator Man or the Butcher of Elmendorf, was an American serial killer who operated in Texas in the 1930s. He is believed to have killed at least 20 women, many of whom were his girlfriends or employees at this roadside bar. Ball was born in San Antonio, Texas in 1896. He grew up on a farm and developed an early fascination with animals. As a young man, he worked as a bootlegger and a gambler, and he eventually opened his roadside bar in Elmendorf, Texas. Ball was known for keeping alligators in a pit behind his bar and charging customers to watch him feed live animals to the reptiles. He also had a reputation for being a womanizer and for mistreating his girlfriends and employees. In 1936, Ball's girlfriend, Minnie Gothard, disappeared, and rumors began to circulate that he had killed her and fed her remains to his alligators. Although no evidence was ever found to support the claim, it led to investigation of Ball's other possible crimes. Police eventually found the bodies of several women buried on Ball's property, including some who had been dismembered and fed to his alligators. Ball was arrested and charged with murder, but he committed suicide in his jail cell before he could be brought to trial. The story of Joe Ball, the Alligator Man, has been the subject of numerous books, movies, and TV shows over the years, and his gruesome crimes continue to fascinate and horrify people to this day. Despite his suicide, the investigation into Ball's crimes continued. It was discovered that he had a pattern of luring women to his bar, then killing them and disposing of their bodies on his property. Some of his victims had been shot, while others had been beaten to death or strangled. Ball's alligator pit played a significant role in his crimes. He would sometimes feed his victims' remains to the alligators, making it difficult to identify their bodies. It is believed that at least some of the alligators were deliberately starved by Ball to make them more aggressive. The story of Joe Ball has inspired numerous works of fiction and nonfiction. It has also been the subject of several movies, including Eaten Alive in 1976 and The Alligator People in 1959, as well as a number of books and TV shows. Ball's crimes are particularly notable for their brutality and unusual element of the alligator pit. His story continues to captivate and horrify people, making him one of the most infamous serial killers in Texas history.